Do you procrastinate? Do you identify as a procrastinator? Do you struggle getting started on tasks, following through on tasks, getting things done on deadlines? Do you find yourself waiting a week to reply to an email, pushing things on your to-do list off and off and off to the next day, the next day, and the next day? This video is for you. Hi, my name is Rose McCool. If you're new here, welcome. I'm the public health burnout coach. I'm so glad you're here. If you're a subscriber, if you're coming back for more, welcome back. This is a place where you're going to learn how to reduce your stress and reclaim your life. And today we're talking about procrastination. But I promise you, this is like no other procrastination video on the internet. Because what I'm going to share with you is the real coaching I gave my very real client who's a leader in public health who struggles with procrastination. And I'm going to tell you what I told her so you can also get out of procrastination. Now, before I do, I want you to think of something that you have recently procrastinated on or currently procrastinating on. Think of it. Is it an email you need to reply to that you feel really anxious about? Is it a report you need to finish up that you keep avoiding and pushing it off? Is it your laundry that's sitting in a chair in your corner and you haven't folded it yet? What is it? I want you to name something recent, one thing that you've been procrastinating on that you would love to stop doing that. That's what we're going to use today. You are going to learn today in real time how to stop procrastinating on that specific task. Now, for many of you, maybe you've tried to stop procrastinating for years. You've tried to set timers. You've tried to reward yourself. You've tried to use discipline and willpower and be mean to yourself. Maybe you've been listening to podcasts and read books and you just feel like this is a personality. This is my identity. This is how I live. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be your identity. Think about it this way. Are babies born procrastinators? No. They're not like, hey, I really need to take a poo, but I'm going to hold off. They're not like, hey, I really want to play with the toy, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wait till tomorrow. No. They're not. Children don't do that. It's a learned behavior. It's something we have learned to do. Now, before I tell you the coaching I gave my client to get out of procrastination, I want you to understand why we procrastinate in the first place. We are procrastinating because we're avoiding an emotion. So the email example, let's say there's the email you need to respond to, but you feel really anxious about how the other person is going to perceive what you write, or maybe you think they're upset with you, and so you feel anxious. When we procrastinate, when we put off that task, what we're trying to do is avoid that emotion. We're trying to avoid our anxiety. And in the meantime, maybe we do, but it's just a distraction. The anxiety doesn't go anywhere. It's still there. How do we know? Then we come back a week later to deal with the email and the anxiety is still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. We've just suppressed it. We've just ignored it. We've just distracted ourselves from it. That's the saying, no matter what you're procrastinating on, really what you're doing is avoiding and running away from an emotion. So what we have to do is name that and understand that and allow ourselves to feel that emotion. The only way that we can deal with the anxiety around an email is to feel the anxiety. I know none of you want to hear this. Me neither. As someone with chronic anxiety my whole life, I never wanted to hear this, but it's the truth. We have to learn how to be with our anxiety. Now, here's the next piece I want you to do. And this is what I told my client. So I teach an email and calendaring course where it's like 3 months and they come in and they learn my whole productivity organization system, how you should organize your emails and structure your inbox while working in public health so you don't get overloaded with emails and fall behind, so you can have what you might call an inbox zero. They learn my calendar system of how to schedule your week, how to organize your to-do list, how to follow through and get everything done. And we have weekly group coaching calls. And my client came on and said, I'm really struggling with procrastinating. There is an email that I need to respond to that I haven't for about a week. And I feel really anxious about it. So the first thing I told her is what I told you is about the emotion. But here's the second thing I told her. And I want you to do this. So go back and think back to what you just decided at the beginning of this video is that example of procrastination you're using. Your laundry in the corner, a report you need to do, something else. What is that? Bring it to mind. Okay. And I had her do the same thing. So her example was email. And I want you to think about your future self, that version of you you've always wanted to be who doesn't procrastinate. I bet you've thought about her a lot because you've thought, I wish I wasn't procrastinating. I wish I was just that person who followed through, who once she said she'd do something, she did it. I wish I was someone who didn't drag things along. I wish I got things done quicker. I wish I was more reliable, right? I bet you've pictured that version of you. That's what you want. So I want you to imagine that version of you. Maybe it's 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, that you've become that person, that you really eliminated the procrastination, that you no longer are someone who procrastinates. Imagine her day. She gets up, she has a list of things to do, and she does them. One by one, she follows through. She doesn't get distracted. She doesn't avoid. She does them. Imagine that version of you. Now what I want you to do is think of that task you're procrastinating right now. With my client, it was an email. So I said to her, okay, this email you're procrastinating on, that version of you, that future version of you that doesn't procrastinate, what would she be doing right now? She said, well, she just sent the email. I said, okay, tell me more details. What would that look like? Walk me through that future version of you that doesn't procrastinate. What would she be doing in this situation? She said, well, I think she'd just pull up the email first thing in the morning and say, I got to get this out of the way. And she'd write her response, and maybe she'd still feel anxious, but she'd do it anyway, and she'd send it, and then it'd be off her plate. And I said, okay, yes. So what I want you to do is when you go to do the task, I want you to use that visualization of your future self. What would my future self do? What would my future self be thinking? She said, well, I think she'd be thinking, I'd rather just get this off my plate. I don't want to drag this along. The sooner I do it, the easier it will be. The sooner I do it, the less I have to think about it. It won't take that long. Once I get this off my plate, I can do something else. I said, okay, great. That's what your future self who doesn't procrastinate would think. Think that now. Remind yourself of that now. Say that to yourself now. I said, how would your future self feel? She said, I think she'd still feel anxious, but I think she would just allow the anxiety. She wouldn't be running from it. She'd let it be there, send the email, and then she knows after she sends it, she can move on. I said, okay, great. Remind yourself of that. When it comes to the email, that the anxiety, nothing's gone wrong. You don't need to run from it. You can send the email with anxiety. And I said, okay, then what would she do? She said, oh, well, after she sent the email, she'd just go work on something else. She'd get something else done. I said, okay, great. Do that. This is a form of visualization where you imagine that future you want to be, and you really connect with her and say, what is she thinking? What is she feeling? What is she doing? How does she approach the situation? You gather all that info, and then you practice it now. Because the only way to become that future version of yourself who doesn't procrastinate is to get clear on what she is doing instead, and then borrow that and practice it today. Because you practice it today, you practice it tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, guess what? You become that future yourself. You become that future you, and you start it now. But I think what happens a lot of time is people don't connect to that future self. They don't envision them, and then they don't also ask them, hey, that future self of mine, what would she do? What would she think? What would she say? And you can even do this way. I said, imagine your future self time travels back in time. She says, hey, guess what? We no longer procrastinate. We get done stuff done so fast and so efficient. And if you got to ask her any question, what would you ask her? How did you do that? What do you think? How do you make that happen? What's your day like? And she answers that. I want you to do that for yourself. And what does she say to you? Does she say, you know what I do? When I see the laundry in the corner, I just do it right away. And I remind myself it will only take 10 minutes. I have 10 minutes. Once I do this, I'll feel better, and I'll have less wrinkled clothes, and they'll be put away, and I'll have more time. Maybe she says, you know what I think about? The fact that I hate that it sits there for a week and I can't find stuff. The fact that once I put it away, it's easier to find. Your future self who doesn't procrastinate, she has reasons she doesn't procrastinate. And what she does to follow through on her activities, whether it's an email or whether it's laundry, is she reminds herself of those reasons. Compelling reasons that she doesn't want to leave it. Compelling reasons she wants to do it now. And she believes those reasons, and they're true to her. And you got to borrow those beliefs from her. That's why you got to connect with her and be like, what do you think? What do you believe? Why do you do this? How do you do this? And take that wisdom and start applying it now. And that's how you become that future version of yourself. Here's why this is so powerful. A lot of times we think about procrastination as just gritting your teeth, willpower, discipline. That can work for the short term. But that's a very kind of punishing approach. That's very much kind of like when you think about a parent getting their kid to behave from a form of punishment or fear. It can last for a little bit of time, but it's not sustainable and it's not healthy. And now we're not kids, we're free will, we're adults with free will. What we need to do and what's true motivation is coming from desire. Our desire to stop procrastinating, our desire to have more time, our desire to get things off our plate, our desire to move forward. And the best way to connect to that desire is to think about that future version of you that you want to be, who already doesn't procrastinate, who has already made that transition, who is living the life and showing up the way you want to show up, and connect and get clear on her and connect to her, because that will ignite your desire. And then you'll really pull up the compelling reasons to do it right now, to do it even though you feel anxious, to not wait. And you'll be connected to that. When you have desire, when there is something you really, really want, it propels you forward. So let's imagine you have the desire to go see Taylor Swift in concert. You're a Swiftie. Maybe you're not, but just go with me. And think of all the Swifties, right, who went to the Eras Tour. They had so much desire in them. They got up early in the morning to get tickets. They paid a lot of money. They traveled really far. That desire to go motivated them. They didn't procrastinate on getting on tickets or booking flights or hotels or traveling. They were motivated. Why? Because of their desire. That's what fuels motivation, really sustainable motivation. So in the area of procrastination, what we got to do is connect to our desire to not procrastinate. And the best way to do that is to connect to your future self who doesn't procrastinate, what her life looks like. How does her life feel? What's going on in her life and you want so badly? How will that future self, that version where you don't procrastinate, be the best thing that's ever happened to you? And really connect to that vision of what you want. When you study elite athletes, they do this all the time. They visualize themselves on the podium, getting that gold medal. They visualize themselves hitting the buzzer, getting that last shot on the buzzer. They visualize themselves having the fastest speed in the swimming race. They do that every night before bed. Why? Because they're connecting to their desire. And that connection and that desire fuels up their motivation. Athletes don't want to work out every day. They don't want to eat healthy all the time. They struggle with their procrastination as well. But they bring up their desire to overcome that and be connected to what they do want and get the motivation to follow through. So I want you to try this week. I want you to apply this, implement it, try it on. Let me know how it goes. Drop in the comments, share your reflections, share your thoughts, what happened to you. This is real life coaching. This is the coaching I gave my client. And guess what happened? She came back the next week and said, whoa, that really helped me. Not only have I been sending emails more, but I used that approach to get to yoga 3 times this week. She said, I used that same approach and I imagined the future version of me who goes to yoga 3 times a week. And I did it because I connected to her. And not only that, is group coaching. 2 other women in the group coaching came back and said, that was so helpful. I have been using that technique, that visualization technique to get my work done, to stay focused on my work. That's how I know this is so powerful. So I want you to give it a go. Let me know. Drop in the comment how it went. I can't wait to hear from you. And with that, I'll let you all go. I'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.